class, my name is Melissa Cortez, and I'm in LAI 574, and I want to welcome everyone to my presentation about phonic analogy. I'm here to present you an evidence-based practice for students with disabilities. My lesson plan incorporates evidence-based practice techniques for second graders to understand phonics, which in turn will help them learn how to read more effectively. My strategy for evidence-based practice is phonic analogies for the use of second grade ELA and vocabulary studies. So what is phonic analogy? Analogy means comparing two things that are similar, and phonics means study of sound-letter correspondence. So phonic analogy means identifying words based on the similarities of the sound it makes. This is a form of decoding through the learning the onsets and rhymes of words. Once a student knows an onset or rhyme of a word, they can use it to understand similar words through it. As a quick refresher, an onset is the beginning sound of a word before the vowel, and the rhyme is the vowel and the letters after that. As seen here, the onset of the word sit is S, and the onset is IT. For my lesson, we'll be comparing words of similar rhymes. So essentially, phonic analogy is about decoding words a student does not know through words that they do know. Research shows that reading unfamiliar words by analogy is easier than letter-by-letter decoding. This provides an opportunity for students to enhance their decoding skills and become better at reading. It can also help them predict words more easily in context and understanding letter-sound correspondence. This means the student can understand that certain letters respond to certain sounds, and this can help them not only to read, but also to pronounce the word verbally as well. The effects of rhyme analogy phonics found students with a reading disability improve greatly from practice of rhyme analogies. One study in particular confirms by just remembering the rhymes of words, the students are able to decode unknown words they haven't seen before. A second study by Elizabeth Finnegan showed that students with cognitive disabilities had their reading abilities greatly improved by learning common rhymes and understanding letter-sound correspondence. The last study by Thomas White shows how second grade teachers used analogy decoding strategies in their classroom, and the students ended up making great gains in their reading comprehension skills and standardized tests on word reading. This demonstrates that phonics analogy is an effective method, and it can be applied to all students who are learning phonics. I will teach my lesson using the same rhyme of the word and changing up the onset to show how keeping the rhyme the same and changing the onset will result in new words. This is a great strategy to use with second graders who are developing their phonics and their newly formed decoding skills. The one main tool I will use during my lesson is analogy charts. My lesson will make use of analogy charts to teach students how to compare and decode words using its onset. In order for students to have good reading skills, they must be able to decode. Students can use their knowledge of sound-letter correspondence to help them decode a word they do not know, and phonic analogy is an evidence-based practice to make it work. The lesson in phonic analogy will help students develop their vocabulary and help them learn how to read. The main goal is for them to learn how to decode words they do not know by understanding how to compare them to words that look and sound similar to them. This evidence-based practice is both effective with general education students and students with cognitive disabilities as well. Phonic analogy can be used according to the student's reading level, and a teacher can adjust it to the student's current level of performance. This makes it easier for special education students because the teacher can adjust phonic analogy to make it simpler or more challenging for them. There is also evidence that repeated phonic instruction can help students learn to read more effectively. As students become more proficient in recognizing commonly used rhymes, the quicker they will be able to decode words with that rhyme. I will also use the steps of explicit instruction to accomplish how to use phonics analogy correctly. My lesson will use analogy charts as a tool to guide the evidence-based practice. An analogy chart is a T-chart that has two words on either side. For example, one side can have the word coat on it, and the other can have the word moon on it. The lesson will start off with a small group of at least 4 students and 1 teacher. This will be for a 2nd grade ELA class for students around 7 years of age. The students then have to sort the list of words they hear from the teacher under the column that has the similar sound pattern. The teacher will model the sounds of the rhyme and onset, and the class will say it together. Words on the list will be examples such as boat, moat, float, soon, noon, and spoon. The students will then have to sort each of the words under the coat or moon column. The teacher will then say each new word orally, and the students will have to spell it out. The teacher will also make sure the words they have to write are easy to spell and are at a level they can write down. At the end of the lesson, if all goes well for the group, the teacher will then ask them to make a new word, using the rhyme of oat or oon, for example. The students will have to think of a new onset to add to it, and the teacher may ask them what their new word means as well. The goals of this lesson is for the students to learn new words by comparing them with the sound patterns of words they do know. Another goal is for them to become familiar with popular rhymes. Throughout the lesson, the teacher will also observe the students and see how they are progressing as a form of assessment. The teacher will see how many the students got right on their own, and if they're able to make new words using just the rhyme. The teacher will observe the students week by week to see if they are progressing, and if not, they may need more one-on-one support with phonic analogies. Hi guys, so before we begin, I'm going to go over some of the materials needed for this lesson. The first thing you'll need is an analogy chart. This is what it looks like. And you'll need copies for yourself and copies for the students. The next thing I recommend having is a Sharpie for the teacher, so when they write it on an analogy chart, the students can see it better. And I recommend the students having a pencil so they can always erase their mistakes if need be. Next, I recommend having some highlighters on hand. This will be useful if the educator asks the students to highlight the onset or rhyme of the word, so the educator can understand if the students know what the onset and what the rhyme is. Also, an overhead projector is very useful to have if you're doing this lesson in a large group, but since my example's in a small group, it's not as necessary to have. So once you have all your materials, you're ready to go with your phonic analogy lesson. Hello everyone, today we're going to do an activity to show us how to learn new words based on words we already know. So I'm going to have to pass these charts out to everyone. And so the first thing we're going to do is write the word back on the left column on top. Okay, just like this. Okay, you see she did it just like this? Alright, very good. The next word we're going to write on the right top of the right hand column is pick. We're going to write the word pick. Okay, very good, just like this. So your chart should be looking like that. Okay, you got it? Very good. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is highlight the rhyme of the word. Now remember last week we went over the onset and rhyme of the word. The onset is the syllable before any vowel, and the rhyme is the vowel plus any final consonants to the word. So I'm going to highlight the rhyme of back, which is A-C-K, ack, just like this. Can you do that for me? Alright, and we're going to do the same thing for pick. So the vowel of pick is I plus the final consonants to it. Alright, so your chart should be looking like this. Alright, so we're going to say it out loud. First we're going to say the rhyme out loud. I'm going to cover up the onset. And the rhyme is ack. Can you say ack?
Ack.
Very good. So the whole word is back plus the onset to it. Can you say back?
Back.
Very good. So We're going to do the same thing for pick. I'm going to cover up the onset. We're just going to say I-C-K, which is ick. Can you say ick?
Ick.
Very good. So can we say the whole word now, which is pick?
Pick.
Very, very good. All right. We're going to move on to the next lesson now. Okay, so now that you know the rhyme to each word, I'm going to list a few words and see if you can tell me if it falls under the back column or the pick column. Alright, so the first word we're going to use is kick. Can you write down the word kick under the column you think it belongs under? Okay, I'm going to write mine down too. Alright, very good. You wrote it down under the pick column. So what's similar about these two words is the rhyme, which is ick. Can you say ick out loud?
Ick.
Alright, and what's different about the two words is the p sound in pick and the k sound in kick. Can you say p? And then the k sound in kick, can you say k? Very good. So you know what's similar about them and you know what's different. Alright, next word we're going to use is hack. Can you put down hack under the right column? I'll write mine down too. Alright, very good. So you wrote down hack under the back column. And just like last time, the rhyme is the same with the ek sound. Can you say ek?
Ack.
Alright, and the B sound, the b, and the h sound in hack, that's what makes it different. It's the rhyme that makes it similar. Alright, the next word is going to be black. Can you write down black under the right column?
Like this?
Alright, well, it's not the right column because the ek sound, A-C-K, should be under the back column because it has the same. What probably confused you is the BL in black, which is a consonant blend. So can you put it under the right column then? Very good. So everyone's column sheet should look like this so far. Remember, even though there's two letters in the beginning, it's just a consonant blend, that's all. Always look at the rhyme, which is the same as back. Alright, so one more word, and the word is quick. Remember to think of the word quick and think of the rhyme in it. Very good. So quick has the same rhyme as pick, which is the I-C-K sound. Ick. Very good. Okay, one last thing before we finish. I want everyone to use the rhymes we already learned, which is the ack and back, and the pick, the ick and pick. So I'm going to model two examples for you. Alright. So I made a new word where there already exists, which is lack. And I put it under the back column because it's similar to back because it shares the same rhyme, but just the onset's different. Can you write down the word lack for me under the back column? Alright, very good. You wrote that down. So I'm going to write a new word under the pick column. The new word I wrote down is stick, which is very similar to pick. They just have the same rhyme, which is the ick sound. Can you write down the word stick under the pick column? Alright, let's say these new words out loud. Can you say the word lack out loud?
Lack.
Alright, which is similar to back. And can you say the word stick out loud?
Stick.
Very good, which is similar to the word pick, because they all have the same rhymes. Alright, so what we're going to do now is everyone's going to make a new word that already exists using the rhymes of back, the ack sound, and using the rhymes of ick, of pick. So just write a new word under each column. Alright, very good. So what we have here is the word rack, which is very similar to the word back. Same rhyme, just different onset. Could everyone say the word rack out loud, everyone?
Rack.
Very good. Alright, so the next word you wrote down was sick, which is very similar to the word pick. It's different onsets. Same rhyme. Can everyone say the word sick out loud?
Sick.
Very good. So that was it for today, guys. Nice work. So next week we're going to learn 2 new rhymes, so be prepared for that. Great job, everyone. This lesson with phonic analogy is highly effective for both general education and special education students. It's beneficial for both students to learn how to recognize rhymes and become familiar with the most common ones. If they come across a word they do not know how to pronounce, they can decode it using phonic analogy and compare it to a word they do know based on its rhyme and the sound letter correspondence it has. This can greatly improve their reading and decoding skills for years to come for all students. I hope everyone enjoyed my video and learned a new evidence-based practice strategy today. Thank you all for watching.